Welcome to the channel, everybody. This is Each One Reach One. I pray and hope that you guys are all doing well and that, Lord willing, I'm able to teach and reach one of you with this lesson. Let us give all praise, honor, and glory to where it belongs, to the heavenly highest, because nothing is of man. Man's goings are of the Lord. How can man devise his own way? I'm not here because I decided to be. I'm here by commandment. I'm here because it's written in our Father's script, in his plan for me to be here to provide this instruction for someone's learning and edification. And Lord willing, it be you today. We're getting into this conversation about what people deserve and judgment, because we are in the season of judgment. And many people don't like the conversation of judgment. They want this entire conversation to disappear. The world is getting sick and tired and upset. They're getting frustrated with the awakened Israelites because we are pronouncing the Most High's judgment on the earth. We're pointing out his judgment when it's taking place. And many people don't like to hear these things because many people believe that they are innocent. They've done no wrong. They've done no harm. They've done nothing worthy of judgment, which is incorrect, right? They err not understanding the scriptures, not understanding the Most High, or the aspects of his creation, how he set things up. And more in particularly what I'm speaking to is the aspect of regeneration, that YOLO is not a real thing. All right. You only live once is not a real thing. That is a satanic doctrine to keep people from the truth, because the truth, if you understood that you do live more than once, you will live your life in a way that, demonstrates the fact that you want to have uh, a better life in your future generations. All right. But anyway, I don't want to get too far down that road. Okay. And so we want to stay on the topic of judgments. Everyone gets judged. You get judged individually and you get judged as a nation. Yes, you do get judged as a nation. And since regeneration is real, you have lived before, and if you are being judged, if you receive judgment and you think that you've lived a great life in this lifetime, let's just say that you are right, you still have to be judged for what you did in your previous life. The Most High requires that which is past. Nobody gets away without getting punished for what they've done. Nobody escapes judgment. All right. And so we're going to go ahead and get into this lesson. What you have to understand is that the Most High is not going to care. He doesn't care how you feel about his judgment. If you call him unfair, he's mean, he's unrighteous, he's wicked, he's evil, he doesn't care about any of those things, because before he did it to the other nations, he first did it to his own children. Judgment always starts in the house of the Most High. He cleans up his own house first. He punishes his own house, his own children first. His children are first in judgment and first in reward. This is the way it goes. All right. This is just the way it goes. This is why we get the first dominion and we got first punishment. All right. So you other nations will be judged as individuals and as a nation for your own sins and for the sins of your forefathers. There's no escaping it. Israelites, we had to be judged for our own sins and the sins of our forefathers. All right. Slavery was judgment. All right. Those people who went into slavery was judgment. Not every last one of them, you know, not every last Israelite that ever went into captivity was all wicked, but yet they all went into captivity as a nation. All right. And this is something that you other nations are going to experience as well. What I have opened up here on the screen so far is Deuteronomy chapter 28. Those of you who know, this is the chapter that's all about the the benefits, the rewards, I should say, for obedience and the curses for disobedience. All right. And I want to read verse 45 and 46 to get to the point. All right. Before this point, it has been listing out a bunch of curses that would happen and come upon the Israelites for their disobedience. All right. Now this is post reading about all of these curses. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee. and shall pursue thee. They shall follow thee. You're not going to be able to escape them and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. All right. What is this saying? It's saying that all of the curses that were mentioned here in this chapter are going to be the identifier for Israel. Everyone will be able to know who Israel is by the curses. All right. The curses that befall the people, because the Most High knew that his people would lose their identification. All right. They will lose their own self identity, and the world will stop recognizing them as his children, as the Israelites. But he left us a sign, he left us a way, he left us breadcrumbs to be able to look at, to follow the breadcrumbs, to find who his chosen people are in the earth present day. All right. That's why we know that we are the children of the Most High God, that the Spirit bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of God, and we fit the curses in Deuteronomy. All right, we fit the judgments spoken of throughout all the prophets when they spoke about what would happen to Israel. All right, so again, these signs are upon us forever. But what does that mean? That means generation after generation after generation, Israel would continue to suffer from these curses. So because of the disobedience of our ancestors, we today are still under the curses from their disobedience. So we are paying today for the disobedience of our forefathers of yesteryear. So when you say, well, I didn't own slaves and no one today who's alive owned any slaves, so we shouldn't have to pay, we shouldn't have to give any reparations, we shouldn't have to be punished, we shouldn't have to be judged, that's not fair. Fair is fair. We went through it first. Israelites, we experienced national judgment, and you other nations will experience ethnic and national judgment also. Can't escape it. All right. You're not going to get away from it no matter what you do or say. All right. Now, the most high is merciful and he's righteous. And for those who loved Israel, or you spared Israel, or you were kind to Israel, although you will go into a punishment as a nation. You know, there are levels to punishment. For instance, during slavery, there were field slaves and there were house slaves. The field slaves had it worse than the house slaves, right? Each slave master, because they're people, they had their own personalities and temperaments and so forth. Some were more wicked than others. All right. And so it matters. The Most High can put you, even though you're in captivity, he can put you in captivity, but put you under captivity where you're going to be subject to a person or circumstances that aren't as bad as other people who deserve worse than what you're getting. All right. So to get into the scriptures now, let's go to Joshua chapter 7. Joshua chapter 7. We are going to begin let's start at verse 1. All right. But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing, right? For Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel. What is this speaking about? This is speaking about Jericho. This is speaking about when the Israelites were commanded to go in, kill, defeat the people and everything else, but don't touch their idols. Don't bring out any of their accursed things. But no, there's always one hard head, at least one among the group. And so this one hard head, he took of the accursed thing and he hid it. All right, let's continue. And Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Bethaven on the east side of Bethel, and spake unto them, saying, Go up and view the country. And the men went up and viewed Ai. And they returned to Joshua and said unto him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai, and make not all the people to labor thither, for they are but few. So there went up thither of the people about 3,000 men, and they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai, or Ai, smote of them about 36 men, for they chased them from before the gate, even unto Shabarim, and smote them in the going down. Wherefore the hearts of the people melted and became as water. And Joshua rent his clothes and fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of the Lord until the eventide, he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads. He can't understand why they lost. He's feeling like the Most High wasn't with us. Why was he not with us? Because the Most High promised to be with him, right? And Joshua said, Alas, O Lord God, wherefore hast thou at all brought this people over Jordan to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites to destroy us? Would to God we had been content and dwelt on the other side Jordan. O Lord, what shall I say when Israel turneth their backs before their enemies? For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land shall hear of it, and shall environ around us, and cut off our name from the earth. And what wilt thou do unto thy great name? And the Lord said unto Joshua, Get thee up. Wherefore liest thou thus upon thy face? Israel hath sinned. Now he's being made known why he allowed them to suffer the defeat. Israel hath sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant, which I commanded thee, which I commanded them. But listen to the wording. Israel hath sinned. All right, he's talking about Israel as the entire nation. He's saying the entire nation sinned. How did the entire nation sin? Let's find out. He says, For they have even taken of the accursed thing, and have also stolen and dissembled also, and they have put it even among their own stuff. Therefore, the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. Neither will I be with you anymore, except unless you destroy the accursed from among you. Up, sanctify the people, and say, Sanctify yourselves against tomorrow. For thus saith the Lord God of Israel, There is an accursed thing in the midst of thee, O Israel. Thou canst not stand before thine enemies until ye take away the accursed thing from among you. In the morning, therefore, ye shall be brought according to your tribes, and it shall be that the tribe which the Lord taketh shall come according to the families thereof, and the family which the Lord shall take shall come by households, and the household which the Lord shall take shall come man by man. And it shall be that he that is taken with the accursed thing shall be burnt with fire, he and all that he hath, because he hath transgressed the covenant of the Lord, and because he hath wrought folly in Israel. Listen, it's talking about this individual. The Most High knows it was an individual, but remember above, he said, he's talked about Israel as a whole nation was accursed, right? He said Israel hath sinned. Israel has transgressed. Not a man among Israel has sinned. Not a man among Israel has transgressed my covenant. No, he said Israel. He held all of Israel responsible for the actions of the one man. This is what happened. The actions of the one man brought a curse upon all of Israel. It brought defeat and death to the men who didn't even steal the accursed thing. They didn't take it. But they're Israelites, right? They're of the nation. So they had to bear the responsibility. They paid a price for it. All right. It says, so Joshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And he brought the family of Judah, and he took the family of Zarhites, and he brought the family of the Zarhites man by man. Zabdi was taken, and he brought his household man by man. And Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah of the tribe of Judah, was taken. And Joshua said unto Achan, my son, give, I pray thee, glory to the Lord God of Israel, and make confession unto him, and tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me. Look, he went right to the tribe, right to the household, right to the man. He knew exactly who it was, but yet he punished the entire nation. All right. And Achan answered Joshua and said, indeed, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and thus have I done. When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonian garment and 200 shekels of silver and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them and took them. And behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran unto the tent, and behold, it was hid in his tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and brought them unto Joshua and unto all the children of Israel, and laid them out before the Lord. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had. And they brought them unto the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, why hast thou troubled us? The Lord shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones and burned them with fire after they had stoned them with stones. Them who? Him and all of his household, his sons and his daughters, right? His sheep, his oxen, his asses, right? All that he had and him. They were all killed on account of their father's transgression. And they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So the Lord turned from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor unto this day. So as you see, Israel was punished as a nation for the sins of one man. Then the man's family, his children, and all that he possessed was all destroyed with him for his sins. They didn't commit the sin, he did, but they were all destroyed. So this is a nation being punished, right? So you see an example of being punished as a nation, and then an example of being punished as a family. Being punished because of what your father did, what your forefathers have done is a real thing. You're not going to escape the judgment of the Most High because you believe you've done no wrong personally. But personally, you don't really know for a fact whether or not you've done any wrong. You only know about this current life that you're living. You don't know whether or not you were a slaveholder in your previous life. You don't know what kind of person you were. The Most High does. He keeps a record. No one gets away unscathed. That's the reason why babies die. That's the reason why children get offed. All right. That's why bad things happen to seemingly good people, because the Most High never forgets. All right. He never forgets, and no one escapes. All right. We're going to Numbers chapter 16. Korah's rebellion. Now, Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of the Lord. See, they didn't like the fact that they weren't on par with Moses. They wanted to be his equal, but the Most High is able to have a favorite. He's able to set someone above the others as he wishes, as he's able to set a nation of people up above, higher above the other nations. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can be angry all you want, but the Most High is able to do with his power what he wants to do with his power. If he set Israel up to be uh, a nation above all the other nations, there's nothing that you can say that's going to make him feel bad about it. You're not going to make him feel like it was an issue. Now, if you have a problem with it, that is your own problem, and he will deal with you accordingly. And see, many of the other nations did have a problem with it. And that's why they hate the quote unquote Negroes so much. We are the chosen. They have this anger deep inside them for us that they can't explain. They can't rationalize it. It's just deep into their core, deep, all the way down to their spirit. It's something about us that makes them hate us so much, although we do them no wrong. We've done them no wrong, but yet they hate us as you would hate a person who killed your family members. They've killed our family members, but yet they hate us more than we hate them. And then when we hate them the way that they hate us, they call our hatred of them unrighteous. See, that's what they do. They call our response to their hatred unrighteous. Oh, we're the real hate group. We're the real hateful ones. All right. These are the same people who don't let anything go. If the things that were done by their people to our people were done by our people to their people, they would feel righteously justified to feel negatively about us to this day. But they think that we have no right to feel the way we feel about them to this day. See, because they have no hearts, no compassion. They're without feeling. They're brute beasts, right? But again, not all of them, right? We're not talking about every single person. We're talking about, the majority of a people group, but not 100% of the people group, because they're always outliers and exceptions. And the Most High will be merciful to those people who were the outliers and the exceptions. But his mercy may still be for you to go into captivity. You just may get a lighter form of captivity, but you're not going to escape judgment, the national judgment. All right. But you will get light personal judgment because it's multifold. All right. So where was I? Let's go. And all right, here we go. Verse 4. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face, and he spake unto Korah and unto all his company. Remember, these are all Israelites, saying, Even tomorrow the Lord will show who are his and who is holy. And see, this is significant because this is kind of like what's going to happen in the end, right? The Most High is going to show who is holy, who are his people, and who are not, right? Because right now, many people believe that they are his, and they believe that they are equal to those who are truly his, to those who he has sanctified for himself and declared holy. They believe that they are just as good or better than his chosen. But as in this story, the time is going to come when the Most High is going to show who are his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him. Even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him. See, those who he has caused to come near, who he has chosen, he's going to call to come near unto him. You just can't come to him because you want to. Verse 6, this do, take ye censers, Korah and all his company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord doth choose, he shall be holy. Ye take too much upon you, ye sons of Levi. So he's basically telling them to do the same thing that the priesthood has to do, that he himself, right, and those like him have to do. He says, we're going to see if the Most High accepts you doing it. If he's going to accept you doing these, carrying out these activities as he does us. All right. So let's see. Okay, I'm back, folks. Pardon me. I had to step away for a second. I forgot where I was, lost my train of thought. Let's see if I can get back into my rhythm. Let's see. I'll just get back into the scripture. I don't remember the commentary where I was in my line of thought. So let's pick up from where were we? Wow. Um, okay, verse 5 is where we ended. This do, take ye censers, Korah and all his company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord doth choose, he shall be holy. Ye take too much upon you, ye sons of Levi. And Moses said unto Korah, hear, I pray you, ye sons of Levi, seemeth it but a small thing unto you that the God of Israel hath separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto him. See, they didn't think it was enough, that they were made ministers. They wanted to be more. All right. People are never happy with their station. They always want to be more important than they are. And, they want, more authority and, more props and pats on the back. And, they want to be looked at as something and somebody. And there's a jealousy thing among our people that just won't allow people to accept their own station. All right. They coveted someone else's office. All right. But let's continue. Verse 10. And he hath brought near to him. And he has brought thee near to him, and all thy brethren, the sons of Levi, with thee. And seek ye the priesthood also, for which cause both thou and all thy company are gathered together against the Lord. Thou and all thy company are gathered together against the Lord. And what is Aaron, that ye murmur against him? And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, we will not come up. Is it a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of the land that floweth with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, except thou make thyself altogether a prince over us? Moreover, thou hast not brought us into a land that floweth with milk and honey, or given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will thou put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. And Moses was very wroth and said unto the Lord, respect not thou their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. And Moses said unto Korah, be thou and all thy company before the Lord, thou and they, and Aaron tomorrow, and take every man his censer, and put incense in them, and bring ye before the Lord every man his censer, 250 censers, thou also and Aaron, each of you his censer. And they took every man his censer, and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moses and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto all the congregation. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in the moment. Now, Israel, hear this. This same call is going out to you now. for you to separate yourselves from these other nations. Separate yourselves from these other people, because our power has intentions to destroy these people. Don't you be a partaker of their sins, or will be rewarded with them accordingly. All right. And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and will thou be wroth with all the congregation? Listen, shall one man sin, and will thou be wroth with all the congregation? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the congregation, saying, Get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Separate yourselves from these people. And Moses rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. So they got up from the tabernacle of Korah. Before I go too soon, look, if you touched anything that belonged to these wicked men, it makes you a partaker in all their sins. So does that mean that if you have received wealth, land, houses, property, any sort of inheritance that came as a result of wickedness, that makes you guilty of wickedness also, and you're going to be punished along with the person that did the wicked? Yes. Yes. If your forefathers were slave masters, everything that they passed down to you, all their ill-gotten gains that were passed down through the generations, whatever ended up in your hand that you touched, that you benefited from, it made you a partaker in their sins. You were an accessory after the fact to the crime. You're guilty. Are you guys, you Gentiles ready to give up all your stuff now? You ready to give up your land? Well, a lot of you aren't being given any choice. You know, the tornadoes and the hurricanes and the floods are taking the choice out of your hands. Judgment. Judgment. National, ethnic, and personal. Judgment. All right. He says, verse 27, so they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram on every side. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives and their sons and their little children. And Moses said, Hereby ye shall know that the Lord hath sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of mine own mind. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord hath not sent me. Meaning, if they die of natural causes, right? Then the Lord hath not sent me. But if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open up her mouth and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, so not just them, but all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then ye shall understand that these men have provoked the Lord. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods, all of their bloodline, his seed, everyone that pertained to them, their relatives, they and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. You hear that? All that appertained to them. So these men sinned. These men committed a transgression, and yet they, their children, their wives, and their other relatives even their homes, their houses, all of their possessions were all swallowed up, all together, all on account of the two men, right? The three men. All right. Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. So you see, it wasn't just those men who were punished for their own wicked deeds. All right. Those that belonged to them, those that were of their house, of their family, died with them in all that they possessed. All right. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. And there came out a fire from the Lord and consumed, listen, the 250 men that offered incense. Yikes, they thought they got away. Nope. A special example was made out of those three men. But then all of those men that followed them in their transgression died also. All right? They died also. Yikes. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, well, matter of fact, I don't even have to continue anymore with this chapter. Like, this was enough from this chapter. We're going to continue. But from this chapter, all that needed to be brought out has been brought out. You see what happened. The point has been made. You see the fact that there is national, ethnic, and personal judgment. All right. And this happened to Israel. This is a Israel thing that's happening here. So, and these are the people he called his beloved, his chosen, his children. If he would do it to them, he will do it to you. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 14. 1 Kings chapter 14. All right, we're going to come down to verse 7. Go, tell Jeroboam, this is the king of Israel. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, for as much as I exalted thee from among the people and made thee prince over my people Israel, and rent the kingdom away from the house of David because of King Solomon's transgression, the kingdom was taken away from the house of David. All right. So there became a split. All right. They split into the house of Judah and the house of Israel. And Jeroboam became the king over the house of Israel. So I rent the kingdom away from the house of David and gave it to thee. All right. So he was given the northern tribes to rule over. And yet thou hast not been as my servant David, who kept my commandments and who followed me with all his heart to do that which was right in mine eyes, but hast done evil above all that were before thee. For thou hast gone and made thee other gods and molten images to provoke me to anger, and hast cast me behind thy back. Therefore, behold, I will bring evil upon the house of Jeroboam. He didn't say I'm going to bring evil upon Jeroboam. He says, I'm going to bring evil upon the house of Jeroboam. What does it mean when it says house of? It means the family, the bloodline. So when you hear the house of Israel, it's talking about the bloodline of Israel. The house of Jeroboam means his bloodline. All right. And will cut off from Jeroboam him that pisseth against the wall, meaning men, and him that is shut up and left in Israel, and will take away the remnant of the house of Jeroboam, as a man taketh away dung, till it be all gone. Him that dieth of Jeroboam in the city shall the dogs eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat, for the Lord hath spoken it. All right. So because of King Solomon's transgression, the nation of Israel was split in two. Then because of Jeroboam's transgression, His family was punished. His bloodline was punished. His house received judgment. All right. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 2. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 12. The sin of Eli's sons. Now the sons of Eli were sons of Belial. They knew not the Lord. And the priest's custom with the people was that when any man offered sacrifice, the priest's servant came, while the flesh was in seething, with a flesh hook of 3 teeth in his hand. He struck it into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. All that the flesh hook brought up, the priest took for himself. So they did in Shiloh unto all the Israelites that came thither. Also, before they burnt the fat, the priest's servants came and said unto the man that sacrificed, give flesh to roast for the priest, for he will not have sodden flesh of thee, but raw. And if any man said unto him, let them not fail to burn that fat presently, then take as much as thy soul desireth. Then he would answer him, nay, but thou shalt give it me now, and if not, I will take it by force. Wherefore the sin of the young men was very great before the Lord, for men abhorred the offering of the Lord. All right, so these are the sons of Eli, priests. All right, so let's come down to verse 22, where Eli rebukes his sons. Now Eli was very old and heard all that his sons did unto all Israel, and how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. They were abusing their power, nothing new under the sun. You hear it happening in churches today, right? And he said unto them, why do ye such things? For I hear of your evil dealings by all this people. Nay, my sons, for it is no good report that I hear. Ye make the Lord's people to transgress. And see, this is what happens. People in authority will cause the people that look up to them to transgress. This is the reason why those why kings and so forth get punished more harshly than even their people, because they are the reason why the people transgress in the first place. Because where wicked rulership is, the people will be wicked also. That's why you can see here in Babylon the Great, such a great sinful and wicked nation. What does that tell you? It tells you that the rulership is even more wicked. So as the rulership goes, so as the leadership goes, so goes the people. They're populace, right? He says, if one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. But if a man sin against the Lord, who shall entreat for him? Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto the voice of their father, because the Lord would slay them. And the child Samuel grew on and was in favor, both with the Lord and also with men. And there came a man of God unto Eli and said unto him, thus saith the Lord, did I plainly appear unto the house of thy father when they were in Egypt, in Pharaoh's house? And did I choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to offer upon mine altar, to burn incense, to wear an ephod before me? And did I give unto the house of thy father all the offerings made by fire of the children of Israel? Wherefore kick ye at my sacrifice and at mine offering, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honors thy sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of Israel, my people. Wherefore the Lord God of Israel saith, I said indeed that thy house and the house of thy father shall walk before me forever. But now, the Lord saith, be it far from me. For them that honor me, I will honor, and they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. Behold, the days come that I will cut off thine arm and the arm of thy father's house. I'm going to cut off your strength, that there shall not be an old man in thy house. Do you hear this? There shall not be an old man in thy house, meaning none of the boys are going to grow old. They're not going to get a chance to become grown men. Not going to get a chance to become old men. His line, their line is being cut off. All right. He says, and thou shalt see an enemy in my habitation, in all the wealth which the Most High shall give Israel, and there shall not be an old man in thine house forever. And the man of thine, whom I shall not cut off from mine altar, shall be to consume thine eyes and to grieve thine heart, and all the increase of thine house shall die in the flower of their age. All the increase, all your offspring shall die in the flower of their age. They shall die at puberty. When they reach puberty, they're going to die. And this shall be a sign unto thee that shall come upon thy two sons, on Hophni, and Phinehas. In one day they shall die, both of them. And I will raise me up a faithful priest that shall do according to that which is in mine heart and in my mind. And I will build him a sure house, and he shall walk before mine anointed forever. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left in thine house shall come and crouch to him for a piece of silver and a morsel of bread, and shall say, put me, I pray thee, into one of the priest's offices, that I may eat a piece of bread. So again, as you see, for the sins of his sons, he himself would be cursed to have his bloodline cut off. His sons would both be killed, right? And all the men of their family would die when they reach puberty. Wow. So you see, the sins of the father, the familial judgment, right? You see that taking place. So you got to know what God has done to know what God will do. So it doesn't matter what you think is fair. Doesn't matter what you think you deserve or what you think you don't deserve or what you think shouldn't happen. You got to know who he is. If you want to have a relationship with him, if you want to understand what's to come, you got to understand what has been. This is the bottom line. All right. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 24. 2 Samuel chapter 24, starting at verse 1. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, go number Israel and Judah. For the king said to Joab, the captain of the host, which was with him, go now through all the tribes of Israel, from Dan even to Beersheba, and number ye the people, that I may know the number of the people. And Joab said unto the king, now the Lord thy God add unto the people, how many soever they be, 100-fold, and that the eyes of my Lord the king may see it. But why doth the Lord the king delight in this thing? Notwithstanding, the king's word prevailed against Joab and against the captains of the host. And Joab and the captains of the host went out from the presence of the king to number the people of Israel. And they passed over Jordan and pitched in Aurora, on the right side of the city that lieth in the midst of the river of Gad, and toward Jazer. Then they came to Gilead and to the land of, I'm not even going to try. And they came to Danjaan, and about to Zidon, and came to the stronghold of Tyre, and to all the cities of the Hivites and of the Canaanites. And they went out to the south of Judah, even to Beersheba. So when they had gone through all the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. And Joab gave up the sum of the number of the people to the king. And there were in Israel 800,000 valiant men that drew the sword. And the men of Judah were 400,000 men. And David's heart smote him after that he had numbered the people. And David said unto the Lord, I have sinned greatly in that I have done. And now I beseech thee, O Lord, take away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly. For when David was up in the morning, the word of the Lord came unto the prophet Gad, David's seer, saying, Go and say unto David, Thus saith the Lord, I offer thee 3 things. Choose thee one of them, that I may do it unto thee. So Gad came to David and told him, and said unto him, Shall 7 years of famine come unto thee in thy land? See, this famine would affect all the people, not just David himself. It was David's transgression, right? But listen to one of the options is 7 years of famine coming into the land. That's going to affect all the people. Or wilt thou flee 3 months before thine enemies while they pursue thee? All right. That's a personal judgment. All right. So that's another option. Or that there be 3 days of pestilence in thy land. Now, again, that's going to affect all the people. Now advise and see what answer I shall return to him that sent me. And David said unto Gad, I am in a great strait. Let us fall now into the hand of the Lord, for his mercies are great, and let me not fall into the hand of man. So the Lord sent a pestilence upon Israel from the morning even to the time appointed. And there died of the people from Dan even to Beersheba 70,000 men. 70,000 Israelites died from pestilence for something they had absolutely nothing to do with. They didn't do it. It was the king's transgression. And the king's sin fell upon all the people. They had to be punished, all right, as a nation for something that had nothing to do with them personally. But the Most High sees us as one people, all right? So, yes, we are our brother's keeper. It says, and when the angel stretched out his hand upon Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord repented him of the evil and said to the angel that destroyed the people, it is enough. Stay now thine hand. And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing place of Arunah, the Jebusite. And David spake unto the Lord when he saw the angel that smote the people and said, Lo, I have sinned, and I have done wickedly. But these sheep, what have they done? Let thine hand, I pray thee, be against me and against my father's house. All right. So now he's trying to change up his proposition. See, first he wanted to escape personal judgment, right? Now, after the national judgment, the ethnic judgment is happening, now he's like, oh, wait, look what I've done. Like, I didn't even take accountability because I wouldn't take personal accountability properly. Look what I brought upon the people. Accountability is a big thing. And see, there was something for us to learn from this. All right. And the fact that these people died for something they didn't do. But what you have to realize is that they did something at some point that made them worthy of death that they didn't die for when they did it. They were reserved, their punishment was reserved for this moment. See, because the Most High knows everything that's going to happen already. He knew that David would do this and that he would punish him this way. So he reserved the people for death who were deserving of death, but escaped it before, because nobody escapes. You might get away from it in one lifetime, but you'll get it in the next or in the following. You might get away with something today, but you'll get punished for 5 years, 10 years from now. However it happens, you don't escape. That's the way it goes. So you see, now this is among Israel. He does it to Israel. He did it to Israel. He will do it to you. All right, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 15. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 1, speaking about Saul's disobedience. Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel. I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. So pay attention to what's going on. Under King Saul's reign, he's about to give King Saul instructions to go and punish the present day people, the present day Amalekites, for the sins of their forefathers, for what happened to Israel when they came out of the land of Egypt. All right. So the people in Saul's time were not the same people that did that thing to the Israelites. They are the children, right? They are the descendants of those people, but yet they are about to get punished for what happened long before them. Now, regeneration and the Most High's righteousness tells me that those people who were alive during that time, they were the same ones who were alive during the time when the great wickedness and evil was perpetrated by them against Israel. So they didn't pay for it in that previous life. They were brought back some generations later, reborn, scheduled to be killed for what they did before. All right. He says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came out from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. Why infant and suckling? What did the children do? See, many will ask that question. That's kind of wicked. That's an evil God that would call for the slaying of poor innocent children. But what if those poor innocent children in their previous lifetime were guilty of the transgression that they're being punished for? See, you only see them as children at the moment, but the Most High knows them as spirits. He knows what they were guilty of before their current lifetime. And so now they're paying for it. Yes, even as children in this lifetime, they're paying for what they did as adults in their previous lifetime. That's what's going on here. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to a city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Kenites, go, depart, get you down from the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye showed kindness to the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt. So you see, this is all about payback, recompense for what happened many generations prior. And the same way the people that are about to be killed were the descendants of those who transgressed against Israel, the people being spared are the descendants of those who showed kindness to the children of Israel. The Most High is righteous that way. So you will get your just deserts. You will get what you deserve, whether good or bad. All right? It says, so the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites, and Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is, over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep and of the oxen and of the fatlings and of the lambs and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse that they destroyed utterly. Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night. All right. So, as you see, the Most High is angry with Saul for not carrying out his instructions to the letter. The Most High wanted everything destroyed. All the cattle, the sheep, the oxen, the fatlings, the lambs, all of that, including the king. He wanted all of them to be destroyed together. He didn't want anything spared. Right? So, in doing so, Saul transgressed against the Most High's commandment. All right. So, next, I want to go to Jubilees because there is a bit of history that many people don't understand. All right, regarding the Bible and human history and what happened after the flood. So after the flood, Noah, through commandment of the Most High, divided all the lands of the earth among his three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. All right, they all received an inheritance. All the lands were given to the peoples by inheritance. They didn't just any, meeny, miny, mortal, just go wherever they went. No, they were given land by inheritance. Okay. Now let's read from the book of Jubilees. We're getting right to the point. And Ham and his sons went into the land which he was to occupy, which he acquired as his portion, right? As his inheritance in the land of the south. And Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt. Remember, Canaan is the son of Ham. And Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt, that it was very good. And he went not into the land of his inheritance to the west, that is, to the sea. And he dwelt in the land of Lebanon, eastward and westward from the border of Jordan and from the border of the sea. And Ham, his father, and Cush and Mizraim, who the land of Egypt is named after, his brothers said unto him, Thou hast settled in a land which is not thine. So Canaan settled in a land that didn't fall to him by inheritance. All right. He took the land of Shem. He took territory in the land of Shem. It is not thine, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so. For if thou dost do so, thou and thy sons will fall in the land and be accursed through sedition. For by sedition ye have settled, and by sedition will thy fall, and thou shalt be rooted out forever. Listen to the curse. All right. Dwell not in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and to his sons did it come by their lot. Cursed art thou, and cursed shalt thou be beyond all thy sons of Noah, beyond all the sons of Noah, by the curse by which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judge and in the presence of Noah our father. Because when the land was being distributed, they all made an oath that anyone who took a land that wasn't theirs or inhabited land that wasn't given to them by inheritance, a curse will fall upon them. So there is a curse upon the peoples for taking lands that don't belong to them. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. There is a curse for people that inhabit lands that don't belong to them? Yes, there is. If you are the descendant of someone who took lands by force, went to a land that wasn't theirs, and took it into your possession, if you currently are living in the land and you have land ownership in the land that wasn't given to your people ethnically and nationally by inheritance, you are guilty of a crime. You are not innocent. You are in possession of stolen property. You have brought a curse upon yourselves because you broke the oath. All right. You broke the covenant, the agreement. All right. Cursed art thou. All right. And cursed shalt thou be beyond all the sons of Noah by the curse by which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judges and in the presence of Noah our father. But he did not hearken unto them and dwelt in the land of Lebanon from Hamath to the entering of Egypt, he and his sons until this day. And for this reason, that land is named Canaan. For anyone who wonder why the land is called Canaan, that's why it's called the land of Canaan. But it was not Canaan's land by inheritance. He stole it. All right. That's why when we go to Deuteronomy chapter 7, remember, you got to understand that to understand what the Most High was doing when he was bringing the Israelites into the promised land and he was giving them these commandments. Let's read Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their groves, and burn their graven images with fire. All right? So they are told to kill all the people and destroy all their stuff. Now, many people who didn't understand the backstory, they hear this and say, well, this is unrighteousness. Why would God send them into this land to go kill all of these people and take their land from them? Well, it's because it wasn't their land. They were in possession of stolen land. They were the recipients of an inheritance that wasn't theirs. They had this land passed down to them from generation to generation by their ancestors, but their ancestors stole it. So they themselves were in possession of stolen land, stolen property. It made them guilty. Remember the curse in Jubilees, right? That all the descendants of Canaan would be punished. They will all be accursed. So even though they didn't die during that time when they took the land because of the curse, here it is. The curse is cursing. It's doing its thing. This is the generation that is being punished for the taking of the land. Now ask yourself, what are the odds that the people that were alive during that time were the same ones alive during the time when the land was taken? There's a good chance that some of them, probably not all, but some of them, or many of them, or a good portion of them, however you want to classify it, were the exact ones who were guilty of the direct theft. But what we do know is even if you didn't do it directly, there is a familial punishment, judgment. And Canaan's line, they were cursed as a people, as an entire nation, right? So that makes them all guilty, makes them all cursed, and makes them all subject to judgment. All right? Let's go to Joshua chapter 3. Joshua chapter 3, verse 9. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, come hither and hear the words of the Lord your God. And Joshua said, hereby ye shall know that the living God is among you, and that He will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Hivites and the Perizzites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Jebusites. See, because though they call them Canaanites, they are all Canaanites, right? I'm sorry. Even though it says Canaanite specifically and then lists all these other nations, they are all Canaanite nations. So they all are under the curses of the land law, the land theft curse. All right. And they're all dwelling in that land still that was never supposed to be theirs. It was always meant to be given to the Israelites. It was always meant to be the land of Shem. Just because they stole it doesn't mean it ceased from being the inheritance of the descendants of Shem. All right. So this is what you got to understand. So now let's go to mm, Daniel chapter 9. Daniel chapter 9, verse 16. Wait. Daniel's prayer for his people. All right. Daniel's prayer for his people. And you know what? I'll start from verse 3. And I set my face unto the Lord God to seek by prayer and supplications with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. And I prayed unto the Lord my God and made my confession. I made my confession and said, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him and to them that keep his commandments. Only Israel were given his commandments. So only the commandment keeping Israelites could receive his mercy. Verse 5, we have sinned and have committed iniquity. So he's not just confessing his own personal sins, he's confessing the sins of his people. We have sinned and have committed iniquity and have done wickedly and have rebelled, even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments. Right? So this was a problem. And look what he's doing. And you got to do it this day, Gentiles. You got to confess your sins and the iniquities of your people as well. All right. Let's go to verse 16. O Lord, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, let thine anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city, Jerusalem, thy holy mountain, because for our sins and for the iniquities of our fathers, Jerusalem and thy people are become a reproach to all that are about us. So Daniel understood that everything that they were experiencing was because of their sins and because of the iniquities of their forefathers. Now, you Gentiles, you're looking around, you're seeing what's going on in the world, but you're not attributing any of it to being because of your iniquity and the iniquities of your forefathers, of your people as a nation. You think that it's all about you personally and what you do or haven't done and so forth, and that you can't be responsible for what other people do and you shouldn't be held responsible for what other people have done. Well, you're mistaken. You're in error. You're walking in ignorance, and that ignorance is going to get you judged harshly. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 1, verse 12. Then the angel of the Lord answered and said, O Lord of hosts, how long wilt thou not have mercy on Jerusalem and on the cities of Judah, against which thou hast had indignation these 70 years? That's 70 years. All right. And the Lord answered the angel that talked with me with good words and comfortable words. Now, before I go on, what are the odds that every single Israelite, every single person from Judah, every single one of them from Judah were all wicked, evil, sinful, horrible creatures that deserved the Most High's wrath and indignation. What's the odds of that being the case? That there wasn't one person that didn't deserve to be killed, right? What's the odds of it, right? Pretty high, right? Because it would be crazy to believe that just every single person, every single one, you mean not one person worth a damn out of all of them? I mean, now, that very well could be true. It very well could be true. But it also could be true that in that time, that wasn't true, but that it was true for some of them in a previous time, that was true for them, which made it true for them in that time. Regardless of how they were living in the present day, their previous life could have made them worthy. This is what I'm getting to. That regardless of what your current life looks like, your previous life could have made you worthy. It made you still dirty and filthy before the Most High. Even if you tried to live righteously and live great in your current life, but your previous life was filthy and you were a horrible person, you still got to pay. Now, when you are reborn in Yahweh Shai, there is no condemnation against you. Your slate is washed clean. You're not held, to the fire for anything that you have done before. That is the blessing of the cross to Israel. That's what he did for us. All right. Remember that. That's exactly what he did for us. It says, so the angel that communed with me said unto me, cry thou, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with great jealousy. And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. Listen, he's talking about Israel. He had punished his people, but he loves his people. So he says, I'm jealous for Jerusalem and Zion with great jealousy, the way he is over us now, despite our transgressions. He says, and I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. In other words, with all these Gentiles, with all these nations who took my people into captivity, who harmed them, right? Who stole their inheritance, called them African Americans, called them Negroes, called them niggers, called them this, called them everything except Israelites. You say you don't believe they deserve any reparations. They don't deserve to be restored and repaired as a nation. Very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. For I was but a little displeased with Israel, and they helped forward the affliction. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. My house shall be built in it, in Jerusalem, among Israel, saith the Lord of hosts, and the line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem. Cry yet, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, my cities through prosperity shall yet be spread abroad, and the Lord shall yet comfort Zion, and shall yet choose Jerusalem. So he's saying that after I'm done punishing them, after all the punishing that I've done to them, after putting them in slavery, sending them through captivity, after allowing them to be alligator bait and to have all of their land taken and allowing them to be hung from trees and so forth, after all of that, I'm going to comfort them and I'm going to choose them again and I'm going to cause them to prosper. Verse 18, then lifted I up mine eyes and saw, and behold, four horns. Listen to prophecy. And I said unto the angel that talked with me, what be these? And he answered me, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. Horns represent powers, military powers, right? These be the powers, the horns, the countries, the strong nations that have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. So there were four great nations towards the end of things. The last four nations that scattered Israel and took Israel, Judah, and Jerusalem into captivity. That's who this is speaking of. So let's continue. Verse 20. And the Lord showed me four carpenters. Then said I, What come these to do? Remember, this is speaking of a future time. And he spake, saying, These are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head. That's why we're on the bottom as a people. We can't lift up our heads. We can't get up above our station. But these four carpenters are come to fray them. Fray who? The nations that scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. They come to cast out the horns of the Gentiles, to take away the powers of these nations that scattered Israel, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah to scatter it. This is talking about payback. This is talking about a later date when the people who are the descendants of those people that scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem, where they will be taken down. The descendants of those that did this thing are going to pay for what their forefathers did. All right? National judgment is coming to those nations, to those people. Ethnic judgment is coming to those people who are part of the bloodlines, who are part of the nations that took part in the captivity, the enslavement, and the destruction of the Negroes, aka the real Israelites. All right. Let's go to Matthew chapter 27. Verse 22. Pilate saith unto them, What shall I do then with Yahushua, which is called Christ? They all say unto him, Let him be crucified. And the governor said, Why? What evil hath he done? But they cried out the more, saying, Let him be crucified. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See ye to it. Then answered all the people and said, His blood be on us and our children. Right? His blood be on us and our children. Why did they say that? Because they knew how the Most High works, that he could and would not only punish them, but punish their descendants also. And guess what? He did. That's why slavery happened. Because the blood of our king was on us as a nation. Even though, listen, even though there were many Israelites that believed in him, followed him, and loved him, they still went into captivity with the rest of their nation. But remember, there are levels to captivity, right? They still went into captivity as an entire nation, even with all of the great multitudes that were his disciples and loved him. They still had to go into captivity with the rest of their nation. We all had to go into captivity together. But because of the Most High, he's gracious. He's able to put you in levels of captivity. Like right now, we are still considered to be in captivity. I believe myself and one of those people, possibly regenerated, that was among those that loved him and followed him in that time. So although I am in captivity, I am not in 1619 captivity. That captivity was different, right? Those guys, those were the ones most likely that were directly involved with his crucifixion. Those who hated him, they were part of the group of Israelites that didn't believe on him, right? The unbelieving Israelites, the ones that hated him, right? The ones that persecuted him. So their captivity was far worse. So it matters what you do. So don't say, well, if I'm going into captivity anyway, it doesn't matter what I do and how I live. Oh, it matters. It definitely matters. Levels, y'all. Just remember, levels. All right. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 26. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 40. If they shall confess their iniquity as regarding Israel and the iniquity of their fathers, what do they got to do? Confess their iniquity and their iniquity of their fathers. If they do this with their trespass, which they trespass against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. This is what happened to us. If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity. What do they have to do? Confess, be humbled, and then accept their punishment. Whoa. Then I will remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. This is what's happening right now. We are remembering and confessing and being humbled. So he's remembering his covenant. All right. The land also shall be left of them, of them, and shall enjoy her Sabbaths, while she lieth desolate without them. And they shall accept of the punishment of their iniquity. Shall do what? They shall accept of the punishment of their iniquity. All right. That's what you have to do. You have to accept your punishment. You have to confess your sins and the sins of your forefathers, your ancestors, of your people. Then you have to accept your punishment. This is part of the process to redemption, part of the process to being able to make it into his kingdom. This is what you have to do. There is a step process, a process of steps that you must go through in order to receive mercy. All right? In order to be able to come into his kingdom. You just can't make it in by believing on Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior and calling yourself a Christian and thinking you're going to be raptured out of here to escape judgment. Not going to happen. You're not going to get raptured out of here. You're not going to escape judgment. You will be here. You will experience the great tribulation. You will experience the hour of temptation, and you will be destroyed therein. Many will be killed. Others will be reserved for captivity. As the scriptures tell us, they will take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. That's the prophecy. That's what's to come. All right. Let's go to Nehemiah chapter 1. Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 6. Let thine ear now be attentive and thine eyes open, that thou mayest hear the prayer of thy servant, which I pray before thee now, day and night, for the children of Israel, thy servants, and confess the sins of the children of Israel, which we have sinned against thee. Both I and my father's house have sinned. He's confessing the sins of Israel, his personal sins, and the sins of his father's house, the sins of his direct bloodline, right? His father, his grandfather, his great-grandfather, his great-great, and so forth, right? His direct line. We knew and we know this is what is necessary. Gentiles, it's time for you to learn what's necessary and what's required. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 14 and last, verse 20, and we're out of here. All right. We acknowledge, O Lord, our wickedness and the iniquity of our fathers, for we have sinned against thee. We acknowledge, O Lord, our wickedness and the iniquity of our fathers, for we have sinned against thee. Do not abhor us for thy name's sake. Do not disgrace the throne of thy glory. Remember, break not thy covenant with us. That's our prayer to him. And he's not breaking his covenant. He's remembering his covenant now. You see prophet after prophet right? They're all doing the same thing because they understand the Most High. When you understand Him, you know what's necessary. And when you understand Him, you know what's necessary is that you acknowledge your offense, the offenses of your nation, and of your personal forefathers. This is part of the reconciliation process. Well, not reconciliation process. This is part of the the process you have to go through in order for the Most High to give you any sort of mercy. If mercy is something you desire, you better know the the mercy process, right? You better know. But you're going to get what you deserve. See, he's not even going to allow the people who he wants to experience the strength of his wrath. They're not even going to get it into their minds to do anything to get mercy. He's not going to let them think about, he's not going to let them come across the video. If they come across my video or anyone like mine, he's not even going to allow them to accept the word. They're either going to tune out before they make it this far, right? They're going to see the title of the video and they're going to exit out of here, or they're going to hear it and they're just going to reject because the Holy Spirit is not dealing with them. So they'll reject the information and they're going to be stubborn. They're going to be hard-headed. They're going to be stiff-necked to the end, and their end will come. All praise, honor, and glory belongs to our Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our Abba Yahweh, in the name of the beloved Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, who is our Redeemer, our Savior, the Lamb of our atonement. Grace, peace, and many blessings to the elect, to the household of God, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. For those of you listening and learning, for you Gentiles listening and learning, take heed, take precaution, do what you must now while you're able, because the window of opportunity is quickly closing. Go and be a blessing to someone else today. Someone else you know can benefit from this. Subscribe, hit the like button, hit the share button. Be a blessing to someone else. Each one, reach one. Shalom.